So when you first joined Peerless, we kind of touched on this, but what did it look like, and what did you do to help, bring the company forward with the digital transformation?
Yeah, I think so. The one thing I just love about what we do at Peerless is everybody has their own thing. And Dan is such a fantastic leader. He tells us all the time, he's like, take your sales territory and just run it as if it's your own little company. Like that's just it. However, manage your budget, your everything. If you think it's fair, whatever you need to do, we're going to give you the resources and you just run your little company. I'm like, that's fantastic. And then of course, Dan is kind of like the center of it all, and he tries to do everything. God love him. He's very intelligent. He's very fashion forward, obviously living on the East Coast, and his daughter is involved with fashion and is, super into all of that. So he has a good pulse on, what's happening in the retail world, and really tries to stay, like, I think actually it was really funny. He tells the story all the time. Back when websites were first coming out, he had won in a raffle, like a silent auction, a free one-page website from whatever it was. And he brought it back to our owner, was like, hey, like, I think we should maybe make a website for Peerless. And I mean, this is back before, like, people didn't even know what they were. And he, I guess, whatever, sure, go ahead. And people in the company were like, why are you doing it? This is crazy. Like, we don't need a web page.
Right.
And so he, he was kind of always the innovator in a sense in that regard, like always, let's just try it. Like, what's the worst that could happen kind of a thing. His favorite thing to say is it's all good. So it's like, just try it. It's all good. So when I came to Peerless, the mentality and the community and the culture, that hasn't changed. If anything, it's just gotten stronger and better and more fun, more familial. But he's always been just a try it kind of guy. So there was a little bit of a social media presence, like he was out there and he has a lot of friends in the industry. So he'd post, personal stuff here and there. And even the company page, Facebook, I mean, it wasn't like, I don't know, as strategic back then, but we would still post flyers. So there was a little bit of stuff happening. And then when I came in, I think there was no like face of the company on social media. So I just kind of took everybody's stories and kind of became this like historian, storyteller, get on camera, share the story, tell people who in the heck Peerless is, drag Dan onto camera with me in some places. Like, you have to be here too. People need to see you and get to know you, because it can't just be charity all the time. Like, our corporate culture is so rich and beautiful. So he was super open to it. It just kind of wasn't happening in mass as it does now. And then now it's just blossomed and become such a good thing. Our creative director, you can see his work in our catalog. It's like what's in my head, and then it goes to him, and it just ends up on these pages, and it looks so beautiful. He's fantastic at that. And so it's not that much different. It's just evolved and gotten better, and now has bigger reach. So that was a lot of words together, like in true charity fashion.
Yeah. Great story. I know Dan myself, and he has always been a leader, and he always just has such a laid back attitude. But I think what you said about him just enabling you guys to kind of run your own little thing and make some decisions and try things out is such an important aspect. We work with a ton of suppliers at Zoom Catalog, and there are some people that are pretty stuck in their ways, and they feel like they know what they're doing is right, even when they do have some employees that have some really cool ideas or want to try new technologies. And I think it's so important that people do adopt that mentality to grow and explore, especially when it comes to technology.
It is. Yeah. I know people get worried about their brand standards, and I think it's important. You have to use the right colors, and you have to present, some semblance of continuity in a sense. But at the same time, I think what I've always employed is that before we're prospects, we're clients, we're humans. And people are typically understanding of people as long as you're telling that story. If you fail to tell a story, people will make one up for you. But if you come on and say, hey, I'm trying this, I know it's off brand, or the colors might not look good, but what do you think? Let us know. Like, we're going to shoot this out here. What do you think about it? And people give you feedback. They understand your story and why you did it. And they're so much more forgiving that the brand color wasn't quite there, or it wasn't quite what they're used to seeing as far as lifestyle images or, quality. Like, people are really willing to be part of that journey if you invite them along on that journey. And like, it's, so I feel like yeah, I get brand standards and why people are so protective of it. I worked really hard when I had my distributor company
Mm.
to build it, and it was very scary to think of somebody coming along and just, being whatever, loosey goosey about brand colors and things like that. But it's so important, and it's amazing to me what has become of the projects and the things that we've taken on because we were given that creativity. But there's a certain level of trust. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Dan couldn't let anybody run wild with this little child. It's like you have to have somebody that understands public relations. There's some guidelines. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense.